Another speaker on the subject of education, Mary McGinnis, who is a teacher and I might add also Southern Westchester BOCES Teachers Association representative. So, Mary,
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you for coming.
Well, I'd like to point out, in addition to being an employee of Southern Westchester, I also have to be a Harrison resident. So I'm not just here as a representative for BOCES alone. I have worked in BOCES for 28 years. I currently work with students who are neurologically impaired and developmentally delayed. Their ages are 16 through 21. They come to us functioning between between a pre-K and a 4th grade level, and emotionally they're between 5 and 10 years old. The educational cut that's going to hit us with this budget in Southern Westchester is $45 million. But there are other aspects of this budget that affect the school districts through BOCES, which adds to this deficit that we'll be dealing with. The first part of it is the non-instructional services that BOCES provides to the districts. We currently provide printing, which is a new service for us. We also do the Section 1 championships with our athletics office, which we've served as the Southern Westchester tier with for the last 20 years. We also do public relations for the school districts, and we do sharing back office services. We provide payroll for districts, and we also do cooperative bidding. And this cooperative bidding is very important for the schools because this aids them in getting to the cheaper vendors. When you go on your own and try to get a deal, it's not the same as if you're going with 5 other districts behind you. We are going to take a big hit with this. I think it's 36 to 65 cents on the dollar in aid for the school districts who use BOCES. The new formula will give approximately 10 cents on the dollar. So it almost pays to not use BOCES for some of the districts. However, we serve the neediest children in our districts, and we service a lot of the needier districts. This now will come into I think it's an $8 million cut for costs. So now you're talking about over $9 million added on to the additional loss that we have with the $45 million. We actually are not a district. We are just educators trying to help other educators. But these new formulas that are being used for the BOCES aid are going to have another critical impact on all of the districts that use our services. And I would say that's really it, except that I do have, I put it up with me, some information that I hope will assist in your thinking and understanding of the services that BOCES provides.
Thank you. Mary, thank you for coming, and I appreciate your participation. And let me thank you all for coming. As I said to people, I had about 100 people come in and out of my office the other day on what we call lobby day, which is every Tuesday. And as I affectionately remind everybody, every time someone leaves, I get a little bit smarter. And as with tonight, I have gotten a little bit smarter and more sensitized to the needs of our community, my district, your district here, okay? When we look at these things, we look at them through sometimes very jaundiced eyes. But the reality is, at the end of the day, they will affect people. They affect our neighbors, they affect our children, they affect each other. When I make a decision about how to vote on a particular bill, after you read the bill, one of the things I consider, obviously, are both sides of it, because there's always two sides. And then, of course, the important one is to consider the unintended consequence of whatever that action is. But then I have to look at it from several different areas. A, what is in the best interest of the 89th Assembly District, the people who I represent, who sent me up there to represent them, all of you. B, what serves the greater good of the state of New York, because frequently they may be at odds with each other. And then third, before I cast a vote, I always say, is there a moral or political reason that I can either be for or against a particular thing? Almost always they're in concert, I will tell you. On those occasions when they are not in concert, I defer to you. I do what is in, I believe, the best interest of the 89th Assembly District and what those people have conveyed to me, as you have all tonight. So, there's a reason we put erasers on pencils, I always used to tell my students, because we all make mistakes. We make more of them up there than most people. Our mistakes, unfortunately, affect you. I learned this when I got involved in the process last year. You know, even a 16-year-old who's got his first checking account realizes that you put money in the bank account before you write the check. In Albany last year, I found out we write the checks, and then when we realize there's no money in the bank account, we borrow your checkbook and write your checks. And part of the dysfunctionality, and the thing that I think people are angry about, and by the way, I left there angry myself, was the idea that at the end of the day, the last thing we did was deal with the budget, and the last part of that we dealt with was the revenue side. And it took me 6 weeks of getting up on the floor in front of a TV camera and asking the chairman of Ways and Means, can you tell me how much money we received from the April 15 tax collection? Finally, 6 weeks later, I got an answer. It was $64 billion, and with all revenues, it was $84 billion. At the time I asked the question, I knew I was asking it because there was a bill before us that exceeded the spending to $95 million. So as I looked at the chairman, I said, so what you're telling me is we're about to spend $11 billion more than we have, and we're not even halfway through the budget. You know, that is unfortunately the dysfunctional area that we all talk about. Do we all work? You know, I'll leave that to you. As I said, you know, we voted on 600 bills. There's no question about that. I started working this morning at 6 a.m. I drove down from Albany, and I'm still here. This is a typical day, and my days are 7 days a week. By the way, this is considered a part-time job. Anybody who does this part-time is doing you a tremendous disservice. But the reality is you can't do enough to do this job right. You can't be well enough educated, and you can't communicate with the people you serve often enough in order to do this properly. And all people like me can hope is I look to the sky and ask someone greater than me for a little guidance once in a while, and hope that all of you will educate me so I know what I need to do. Okay? So I thank you all very much for coming and for making me a little bit smarter than I was when I walked in this room. And I wish you all to have faith. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think it's a train yet. I'm a little circumspect about the way things are, but having said that, there are honest and honorable men and women on both sides of the aisle, both sides of every issue up there, and I think a lot of us are coming to grips with the fact that, you know, we can't tax and spend our way out of a problem that we tax and spend our way into. You know, we need to develop our economy. We also need to make reasonable cuts. We need to do that with a scalpel, not an axe. And if we do that, and we do that in the best interest of all our communities, at the end, we will all be saved. The ship of state is rocky and sinking. If we do not do something this year, it will sink. So we are there to make tough decisions. It is, I hope, with the guidance that we have from all the places and all the people who send us up there, an environment now where we will make the right decisions. It will all be tough, we'll all suffer a little bit. But again, if we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, there's some hope. I see it. I think we have a future. We are Americans. We always win, okay? Because we always fight to win, okay? And we do this whether it's on the home front, and I'm not talking about the military as a metaphor. You know, we do it as citizens. We struggle to survive, to give our kids a better future than we had for ourselves, and to do the things that the previous generations, as you mentioned, all of us were immigrants at one time. And we look back to those people who came first, who provided us this, who gave us the opportunity to be the first person who went to college in a family, you know, and get to the places that our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents never thought was even possible. That's the hope and promise of America. I think it's still alive. My belief is that I'm going to do everything I can to keep it alive. The fact that you are here tells me you will too, and I thank you.